There's a certain video that circulated through the earliest days of YouTube. I first saw it as a kid, buried in the threads and odd corners of the web. Even when I forgot about it consciously, it haunted me subconsciously. The white mascot figures, the blank walls, the unsteady crying of the man in the chair. Those images lingered in the back of my mind long after the clip stopped playing. So, what is BlankRoomSoup.AVI? And where did it come from? Often called Freaky Soup Guy, it's remarkably minimal. In a featureless white room illuminated by flat fluorescent light, a man sits at a table eating thick soup from a metal bowl with an oversized ladle. His clothing is plain and his face is obscured in most circulating versions. He makes uneven sounds, sobs, gasps, and brief, strange laughter. And it's impossible to tell if he's crying, laughing, or both, given how sparse the audio and visuals are. Then, two tall humanoid figures enter. Their bodies are clad in black and vinyl, and their oversized heads rest on smooth, pale masks. Their faces lack expression, no mouth, two round dark eyes, and stylized symmetrical hair. These are RayRay figures, characters originally conceived by animator Raymond S. Percy as part of his performance artwork. In live shows, these RayRays moved in exaggerated, choreographed ways, but in this clip they behave with a calm, deliberate awkwardness as they pat the man on the back in a gentle, measured manner. Over time, many versions of this video surfaced, or at least they were claimed to exist. Some people describe scenes where the man gags or retches. Others say the camera cuts out suddenly when one of the RayRays moves aggressively. These descriptions come from mostly archived creepypasta forums and message boards. Few of the alleged alternate uploads can be reliably traced, and many may be distorted or repurposed. The first clearly documented appearance of the main clip is from 2005, uploaded by a user named renaissancemen. There was no context, no explanation, and no credits. Just a raw, disturbing piece of footage. That complete lack of attribution helped fuel both fear and myth. Ever since the original clip spread, people have concocted a wide range of theories to explain what they think they're seeing. One of the darkest theories treats the man as a victim of torture. Some viewers speculate he was being forced to eat something unspeakable. In creepypasta circles, that escalated into wild claims, cannibalism, ritual punishment, or organized entertainment of a deeply sinister kind. These narratives came to be without any proof, but there was also no offered framework to disprove them. Others looked at the clip symbolically. What if it isn't literal, but a metaphor? In that reading, the blank white room becomes a psychological void, as the RayRay figures represent guilt, regret, or other internalized forces. The man's forced eating might then stand for emotional burden, something he must endlessly consume, perhaps self-inflicted, perhaps imposed. Then there is a much more grounded explanation, one supported by costume history, creator statements, and documented performance art. The RayRay figures in the video bear a nearly perfect match with the suits designed by Raymond S. Percy. Percy was part of a creative collective and performance troupe that used RayRay characters in live performances, animation, and music shows. Archival sources confirm that Percy created these figures for stage art, not for crime videos. According to the most thorough investigations, Percy later claimed that some of his suits were stolen. That suggests someone could have made the video using Percy's distinctive creations, whether by borrowing, theft, or collaboration. It makes far more sense given the sophistication of the costumes than imagining a random anonymous torture ring. On Reddit and other message boards, what began as pure speculation gradually shifted into cautious reconstruction. In threads on r/creepy, people started connecting the dots on the exact proportions of the RayRay masks, references to performance footage, and reports that the suits went missing. Some pointed out that the original uploader username, Renaissancemen, appears to be strongly linked to Percy's own circle. As more users dug into archived performance videos and costume galleries, the discussion moved away from tragedy and toward art. People began suggesting that the Blank Room Soup clip was never meant to be evidence of horror in real life, but a deliberate, weird, stylized piece of viral performance. In a detailed write-up, the author Eclipsar walks us through how the RayRay suits, the video quirks, and the upload history all point towards a staged production. According to the breakdown, the RenaissanceMen YouTube account was most likely maintained by Percy or someone in his team, not a random stranger trying to hide a crime. Eclipsar suggests Percy and his collaborators might even have cast themselves to generate viral mystery rather than to document real violence. The investigation also revisits communication between YouTube Rainbot and Percy. Rainbot claims Percy said the suits were stolen, but Eclipsar raises doubts about the strength of that story. The article leans towards the explanation that no theft occurred at all, that the video was produced by Percy's team as a shock mystery to build hype around RayRay. That theory aligns with how RayRay designs were used elsewhere, in live performance, in short films, and in stage shows closely associated with Percy's creative network. The conclusion Eclipsar reaches is that Blank Room Soup was never a hidden crime piece, but a viral piece of performance art designed to unsettle, intrigue, and promote. Putting together everything we know, the most convincing interpretation is that Blank Room Soup is not real torture. Instead, it seems engineered. The RayRay suits are too specific to be cheaply replicated. The early upload had no disclaimers or explanation, which is exactly what you would do if you wanted people to spin elaborate myths around your art. Even more telling, the video's ambiguity is not a bug, but a feature. The more people question what's happening, the more it spreads. That kind of viral mystery was hugely effective, especially in the mid-2000s, when conspiracy-style internet content was booming. There is no overt violence, no injury, and no gore. The impact comes from suggestion. That, above all, points towards design rather than documentary. Reaching back into the theories, to truly understand the Blank Room Soup story, we have to talk about the additional clips that appeared in the years after the original. On a YouTube channel called Maintenance Tunnels, several short films appeared. They were labeled as follows: Blank Room Soup 2, Blank Room Soup 3, Blank Room Soup 4, so on. These are widely referenced in Eclipsar's Medium investigation. In number 2, according to Eclipsar, a soda can is clearly visible on the table in the corner, a detail that was not in the first video. The camera angle is slightly different, suggesting a different shot, but the same blank room setting remains. Toward the end, one of the masked figures suddenly rushes towards the soup guy, presenting what appears to be aggression. Eclipsar argues this could easily be an edited or directed scene, not violence, but possibly just added for dramatic effect. Part 3 in this series diverges even more, filmed outdoors at night. It shows what seems to be a RayRay suited figure dragging a person tied with rope. The victim wears glasses and a hat, and does not strongly resemble the man from the first video. This raises serious doubts about continuity. Is this the same story, or a separate performance stitched into myth? Then we get to part 4 and 5. This is where it gets more skeptical. It's noted that they don't clearly connect to the first 3 videos. The settings differ, the tones shift, and there's a strong possibility that these later uploads, and the project entirely, have become part of an ARG. That is, a narrative built by fans or creators who saw the myth as fertile ground for speculative fiction. According to Eclipsar's investigation, these entries may have been added not to document real events, but to expand a legend in a deliberately fragmented way. In other words, while Maintenance Tunnel's videos serve to amplify the mystery, there are inconsistencies with the original. Different set design, varying production quality, character differences. These all suggest they aren't authentic sequels. Instead, they feel like fan-made extensions, or alternate chapters in a viral horror story. By placing those videos in this anthology of speculation, we get a clearer sense of how the Blank Room Soup myth evolved. It's not just one scary clip, but a community-driven creation that over time has been expanded and reinterpreted. Coming to the end after all the digging, I'm struck by how it all feels designed. The fear that gripped me as a kid, driven by mystery and a lack of context, it's still there, but it's evidently clear how much of that fear was designed into the video from the start. The man's muffled crying, the deliberate movement of the RayRay figures, the static camera. This all feels like performance. If the suits were taken or used intentionally, that would explain why Percy might distance himself. It would also explain the anonymity, the unanswered questions, and the strange perfection of the viral setup. This all reads like creative exploration. Some perhaps credible, some clearly divergent, and some likely part of a deliberate ARG. Their very existence shows how the internet can take a creepy art piece and turn it into folklore. When we weigh all the evidence, the strongest conclusion is that BlankRoomSoup.AVI was never a snuff film or torture recording. It was a staged performance, an unsettling, ambiguous piece of art built around Percy's RayRay characters, distributed anonymously, and allowed to grow into legend. The RayRay connection gives it real creative lineage. The upload history supports a calculated mystery. The added videos, far from clarifying, deepen the enigma, most likely because they come from a different creator or fan rather than the original team. In the end, the greatest horror in Blank Room Soup might not be the violence. The real unease comes from the unknown, the unanswered, and the way art can be mistaken for something sinister when left to the dark corners of the internet. Blank Room Soup has existed on the internet for nearly 20 years now, and in that time it has grown into one of the earliest examples of how web folklore forms. What started as a disturbing clip became a mystery, and what became a mystery became a legend. So, what are your thoughts on Blank Room Soup? Myth, legend, or something more? Leave it in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.